What's make leader different from non-leaders? What's the most appropriate style of leadership? What makes leaders effective? These are just some of the topics we're going to address in this chapter. Come with us to Tutorial 3, Group 4 in Understanding Leadership.
Hello everyone, my name is Amira Husna. You can call me Husna. So, for question 12.1, define leader and leadership and discuss why managers should be leaders. By definition, a leader is someone who can influence others and who has managerial authority, while leadership is what leaders do, the process of leading a group and influencing that group to achieve its goals. In simple terms, leadership isn't just a job title. It's the ability to guide, to motivate, and also shape the behavior of others toward its shared objectives. So, leadership is not separate from management because it is actually one of the four main management functions, which we learn planning, organizing, controlling, and lastly leading. So, ideally, all managers should be leaders. Without leadership, a manager may be able to assign tasks, but they will struggle to inspire commitment, or they will struggle to encourage teamwork or maintain a positive work environment. Effective managers use leadership to communicate a clear vision, influence employee attitudes, and align the organization's goals with individual effort. By being leaders, managers can drive performance, build trust, reduce resistance to change, as well as foster a culture that supports growth and innovation. In today's workplace, simply managing resources isn't enough because employees look to managers for direction, for motivation, and also confidence. That's why good managers or good management requires strong leadership. It transforms authority into influence and routine into goal-driven action.
Hi everyone, my name is Nawar and I'll be answering the question 12.2, which is stated that based on the behavioral theory of leadership, how does the behavior of one leader differ from that of other leaders? So I think the differences is based on how the leader act actually, whether they focus more on the job or the people itself. So let's see some key behavioral differences from some studies. So the first one is from the University of Lua. They studied two leadership styles. The first one is the autocratic style, where the leaders tell people what to do and make decisions alone. And the second one is democratic styles, which the leaders involve the team and ask for their opinions to make decisions. So now let's go to Ohio State University, where they found some leaders focus on structure, which they focus more on organizing work and setting the goals. On the other hand, some leaders focus on consideration, which being supportive and building good relationships with their team. And then let's go to the University of Michigan, which they describe leaders as production oriented, where they focus on getting the job done. And the second one is employee oriented, which they focus on the well-being and the needs of the team. So in short, we can see from the studies that the leader's behavior can be task focused, people focused, or might be the blend of both. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Leaders are born, not made. You've probably heard this before, but is it actually true? I don't think so. And here's why. Think about what actually makes a great leader. Communication skills, strategic thinking, emotional intelligence, the ability to make decisions under pressure. Are babies born knowing how to do these things? Of course not. These are skills that people develop over time through experience, feedback, deliberate practice. We see this all the time in the real world. People who were average leaders early in their careers become exceptional after years of growth and learning. If leadership were purely genetic, this kind of transformation simply wouldn't be possible. Here's another thing. Different situation requires completely different leadership styles. Someone who's brilliant at leading a military operation might struggle running a tech startup. This tells us leadership isn't about one fixed set traits, you're born with it. It's about learned skills that match the context. Now, I'll admit, some people do have certain natural advantages. Maybe they're more comfortable with uncertainty, or they have high energy, or they're naturally outgoing. These traits can make the leadership journey a bit easier, but they're not destiny, they're just a head start, not the whole race. The truth is, leadership comes from a mix of whatever natural inclinations you have, the skills you build, and the opportunities you get to practice. The born, not made idea isn't just wrong, it's limiting. It stops people from developing leadership abilities they absolutely can build. So, no, leaders aren't born, they're made, and that's actually the better news.
Good morning. My name is Awab Yunus Badri, and today I'll be answering question 12.4. A leader's effectiveness depends on their followers' ability. Which theory claims this and why? This claim is the core of Hersey and Blanchard's situational leadership theory. Unlike older theories, situational leadership theory focuses on followers' readiness, defined as the extent to which followers have the ability and willingness to accomplish a task. The reason effectiveness depends on the follower is simple. A leader's job is to compensate for whatever the follower lacks. Stage 1. Unable and unwilling. The leader uses a telling style with clear, specific instructions. Stage 2. Unable, however, they're willing. The leader shifts to a selling style, providing both direction and high support. Stage 3. Able, but unwilling. The leader moves to a participative style to boost motivation and willingness. Stage 4. Able and willing. The leader uses a delegating style, stepping back to let the expert work. If a leader misjudges the follower's ability, they will use the wrong style and the team will fail. Ultimately, the follower's state dictates the leader's behavior, making the follower the most important variable in this equation. Thank you for listening.
Hello everyone, my name is Nur Najwa binti Ahmed Tirmizi. Today I will discuss why the managers in real life use a contingency approach to increase their leadership's effectiveness. Before that, a contingency approach is a leadership style's effectiveness depending on the situations. Now go back to the questions. My answer would be yes. Most managers do use a contingency approach in real life and often adjust their leaderships without realize. They often adjust their leadership styles based on factors such as the employee experience or ability, task urgency or crisis situations, and some might be like the overall pace and organizational environment factors. So by doing this, the manager is actually able to respond more effectively to different challenges. For example, the managers may use directive leadership styles when dealing with new or like inexperienced employee, as these employees require a clear guidance and instructions. So on the other hand, a participative leadership styles will be more suitable for experienced and skilled employee, as it allows them to contribute more ideas and take part in the decisions making. So this shows that most leadership styles changes according to the situational need. However, not all managers actually apply the contingency approach effectively, because some managers do rely on one fixed leadership styles and they may lack the trainings, experience, or times needed to like properly assess a different situations. And in addition, the organizational culture may limit the leadership's flexibility, making it like difficult for the managers to actually adapt their styles. So in conclusions, I would say that most managers do use a contingency approach in real life, as it actually helps to increase the leadership's effectiveness by matching the leadership styles to the situations. However, the success of this approach will ultimately depend on the manager's ability to adapt correctly.
And now I'm going to explain about a case study summary. For the case study 1, The first point is trust as core of leadership. So trust is fundamental part of leadership. When trust is lost, followers question decision, fairness and integrity. This case examines how FIFA lost trust and tried to recover from it. Second, background of FIFA. So FIFA was founded in 1904 and it's responsible for managing and regulating world football, including the World Cup. Number 3, football as a big business. So football is not just a sport but a global business worth billions of dollars. This makes ethical leadership extremely important. Number 4, World Cup bidding process. So one of FIFA's key responsibility is choosing host countries of the World Cup. So countries invest millions and expect a fair process. Next, point number 5, early allegations of corruption. Allegations emerged that countries colluded and traded votes during the bidding for 2018 and 2022 World Cups. Number 6, internal investigations attempt. So FIFA hired an independent investigator, which is Michael J. Garcia, who produced a detailed report on corruptions. Number 7, loss of credibility. So FIFA refused to release a full report and only published a summary, which damaged credibility and led to Garcia's resignations. And point number 8, 2015 arrests and scandals. In 2015, US authorities arrested several FIFA officials for corruptions involving bribes over many years. Moving on to our point number 9, which is leadership collapse. Although re-elected, Sepp Blatter resigned shortly after and was later banned, along with Michael Platini, from football activities. And the last one, which is reforms and trust rebuildings. In 2016, Gianni Infantino became president and introduced reforms focused on transparency and accountability to rebuild trust.
Hi guys, it's me Husna again. So, for this case study, discussion question 12-11, the large number of senior FIFA executives who were investigated, including Blatter and Platini, which involved over 150 million in bribes over 24 years, reveals that FIFA's organizational culture had become deeply flawed and lack of accountability. When misconduct is found at the highest levels, not just one or two individuals, but multiple executives over a long period. So it suggests that unethical behavior was not an exception, but a norm that had been tolerated, ignored, and even quietly encouraged there. Instead of promoting integrity in process such as World Cup bidding, the culture appeared to reward secrecy or to reward personal gain and abuse of authority. The fact that these actions went on for years before being exposed shows that internal controls were weak and that ethical leadership was largely absent. Leaders failed to act as a role models and did not enforce the values expected of a global sport organization. This global organization responsible for fairness and transparency. As a result, corruption became embedded into everyday operations, damaging trust with players, countries, and also fans. Overall, the widespread investigations highlight that FIFA's culture had shifted away from its mission of fair governance toward one where unethical behavior could thrive without challenge, until external pressure finally forced change.
Hi, my name is Puchi Zulaika, and today I'll be presenting on which suggestion for building trust FIFA should have focused on. I believe that the key focus should have been practicing openness. Firstly, it's because openness builds trust. FIFA lost the public's confidence mainly due to secrecy. By communicating openly about investigations and decision-making processes, FIFA could have reassured stakeholders that it was acting with integrity. Secondly, openness strengthens fairness in bidding. The selection of the 2018 and 2022 World Cup hosts faced accusations of vote tradings and collusion. If FIFA had made the vote evaluation process clear and transparent, countries and fans would have seen that decisions were based on objective criteria. This would have reduced perceptions of bias and shown that every nation had a fair chance. Moreover, openness could have prevented Garcia's resignation. Michael Garcia's 350-page investigation was a major opportunity to reassure confidence. However, FIFA released only a short summary, and even Garcia publicly stated that his findings were misrepresented. Thus, publishing the full report would have preserved his credibility and demonstrated FIFA's commitment to impartial and honest oversight. Next, openness limits legal and leadership fallout. By withholding information, FIFA invited external investigations such as official arrest and US raids. Hence, early disclosure could have reduced these interventions. Additionally, openness increases public confidence in leadership. When stakeholders can see how decisions are made and how rules are applied, leaders appear fair and trustworthy.
Hello, my name is Awab Yunus Badri, and to continue, I will answer question 12-13. What does the case say about Blatter's style of leadership? Based on the FIFA case study, Sepp Blatter's leadership style was dismissive, non-transparent, and reactive. When rumors of corruption first surfaced in 2011, he downplayed the allegations dismissively instead of investigating them. This created a culture where disloyal payments and bribes totaling over $150 million were allowed to occur for over 2 decades. Furthermore, Blatter's style prioritized secrecy over accountability. A key example is the Michael Garcia report. Even though a 350-page investigation was completed, Blatter's organization refused to publish the full document, releasing only a misleading summary. This behavior shows a total failure in dimensions of trust, specifically integrity, which is honesty and openness, which means sharing the entire and whole truth. Because he failed to lead with transparency, he lost the trust of clubs, players, and fans, eventually leading to his 8-year FIFA ban from all football activity. Ultimately, Blatter's style proves that without ethical leadership and a focus on building effective relationships, even the most powerful leaders could damage a huge business's reputation.
In 2011, when asked about the crisis at FIFA regarding rumors of financial irregularities, Sepp Blatter downplayed the allegations dismissively. Out of the 5 dimensions of trust, the dimension that he failed to demonstrate the most here was integrity. Firstly, it's because by downplaying allegations, Blatter dismissed serious rumors of financial irregularities instead of addressing them openly. The refusal to confront the problem shows lack of transparency. Secondly, there was an erosion of credibility. Stakeholders, including FIFA members, participating countries, and football fans worldwide, lost confidence in his honesty and leadership. Third, his actions undermine ethics. By ignoring the seriousness of the allegations, he failed to uphold the ethical standards expected of a global leader. This behavior signaled that overlooking rules or questionable practices was acceptable. Fourth, Blatter created uncertainty. His dismissive attitude left stakeholders speculating about FIFA's internal processes and decision-making. When leaders fail to communicate openly, confusion and doubt arise, weakening confidence in the organization's ability to act fairly and consistently. Finally, the overall impact on trust was significant. Integrity is the foundation of trust. When it is compromised, all other dimensions such as competence, consistency, openness, and loyalty are also affected. Hence, stakeholders cannot feel confident that the organization will act in their best interest. Overall, Blatter's lack of integrity undermined stakeholders' confidence in his honesty, ethical behavior, and adherence to moral principles.
So next, for Infantino to succeed, what styles of leadership do you think would be most effective? So before I go through the questions, the FIFA actually faced a massive trust crisis after a series of crushing scandals, and the allegations actually include the vote trading, the bribes, and a lack of transparency in the World Cup by then, right? And in 2016, the Gianni Infantino actually became the new FIFA president, and he was tasked with the enormous challenges of rebuilding the trust among the clubs, the fans, the players, and the countries. So in order for the Infantino to succeed, a combination of transformationals and the ethical leadership would be most effective one, because the transformational leadership actually helps inspire a clear visions for a transparent and accountable FIFA, motivating the stakeholder such as the clubs and the players and the fan to believe in positive changes that they will do. And then therefore, the ethical leaderships will start like a strong moral standard to ensure honesty and integrity in the processes like the World Cup bidding. And I believe that some key actions includes implementing the strict accountability and the transparency reforms, and as such communicating openly with the publics and FIFA members and promoting an ethical culture, and they need to show that a tangible results to rebuild the FIFA reputations. So overall, I would say that the Infantino success overall depends on the restoring trust, and by combining those visionary transformations, the ethical integrity, which can like slowly, gradually repairs the FIFA's images.
Let's continue to our case study 2. So the first one is background of Manchester United's success. So Manchester United experienced remarkable success under Alex Ferguson, winning 38 trophies over 26 years. Second, leadership scrutiny. So with success comes scrutiny, and the media closely analysed Ferguson's leadership method. Number 3, reputation for tough leaderships. So he was famous for the hair dryer treatments, where he aggressively confronted players to demand high performance. Next, point number 4, beyond fear-based leadership. However, this reputation does not fully explain how he led effectively for over 2 decades. Number 5, long-term vision and culture change. Ferguson entered the club with a clear vision to rebuild Manchester United by changing its culture. Number 6, establishing discipline and work ethic. He eliminated negative behaviors and promoted professionalism, disciplines, and strong work ethic. Number 7, creating identity and belonging. Ferguson reinforced pride and belonging by insisting players represent the club professionally. Moreover, point number 8, adaptive leadership style. So rather than using one approach, he adapted his leadership style to suit different personalities. Number 9, attention to people and detail. So he valued everyone in the organization, learning names, and building relationship beyond the team. And the last one, leadership legacy. So Ferguson's leadership influence extended beyond football, earning him a role in executive education and authorship.
So, for the question 12-16, I'll be explaining about the leadership theories that I feel Ferguson's actions support at Manchester United. I believe his approach reflects 2 key types of leadership thinking, which is the contingency-based approach supported by clear behavioral flexibility. So the first theory is situational leadership theory, which is a contingency approach. Like Ferguson adapted his style based on each player's maturity and experience. For example, with less disciplined and younger players, he was more directive, like he even using his famous hair dryer treatment. But with seasoned veterans, he was more supportive and gave them freedom. This shows that he didn't have one fixed style, but he changed it based on the people. And the second one is the path goal theory, another contingency model. Ferguson made the path to success very clear. So, for example, he was directive by setting strict rules like the dress code. Furthermore, he was also supportive by building personal connections with everyone in the club. And he was also achievement-oriented by constantly pushing for trophies and changing the club's culture. His role was to remove any obstacles in the club, like the drinking culture, and motivate the team toward clear goals. And the third one is the behavioral leadership, where Ferguson balanced 2 key behaviors, which is the task focus, like discipline and high standards, and the people focus, like knowing the staff names and showing that he cared. This balance matches what artists call the point of non-common nine in the managerial grid style, where a leader shows high concerns for both results and people. In short, I believe Ferguson was a flexible and balanced leader who used contingency thinking to adapt to different players and situations, while also showing strong behavioral consistency in balancing task and people needs. So I think Ferguson wasn't just a manager, he was a strategic leader.
Alex Ferguson led Manchester United for 26 years, winning 38 trophies. But how did someone with a reputation for the infamous hair dryer treatment become one of the most successful managers in football history? Let's break down 3 key leadership traits that made him exceptional. First trait, Ferguson was a visionary leader. When he joined in 1986, he didn't chase quick wins. Instead, he transformed the entire club culture. He tackled the drinking problem head on, established a strong work ethic, and even required players to wear club laces when representing Manchester United. He understood that championships aren't built overnight, they're built through cultural transformation. Second, Alex Ferguson was remarkably adaptable. Yes, he shouted at some players, but he varied his approach with each individual. This wasn't random, it was strategic. He deeply understood his players and knew exactly how to get the best out of each one. Some needed a tough love, others needed encouragement. Great leaders recognize that one size doesn't fit all. The third relationship that Alex Ferguson was, he was a detail-oriented in his relationships. He didn't just know his star players, he learned the names of everyone including support staff and built genuine relationships with them. When there were discipline issues, he dealt with them immediately and moved on. He understood that the organization was bigger than just the team on the pitch. Alex Ferguson's success wasn't despite his varied approach, it was because of it. True leadership means having the vision to transform culture, the wisdom to adapt your style, and the humility to value everyone in your organization.
Alex Ferguson's long-term success was strongly influenced by his emotional intelligence. So, first and foremost, self-awareness and also self-control. Although Ferguson was known for his strong temper and the famous hairdryer treatment, he did not lose control emotionally. Instead, what he did is he understood when to use strict discipline and also when to remain calm. His emotional reactions were purposeful and used as a motivational tool to correct behavior and also to push players to perform more better. And secondly, is the empathy. Ferguson recognized that each player had a different personality, background, and also emotional response to pressure. So because of this, he avoided using a single leadership style to everyone. So some players are made to respond well to public criticism, while others need the private support. And this ability to understand individuals' needs help him maximize performance across the team. And lastly, social skill and also the relationship building. Ferguson believed that leadership extends beyond the players on the field. So by learning the name of the support staff and also building personal connection, he success to create trust, loyalty, and also strong sense of belonging. This positive environment encouraged commitment and also long-term dedication to the club. Despite its effectiveness, varying leadership style can also lead to challenges. So, the first challenge is perceived favoritism. When players notice that different teammates receive different treatments, they may believe that the leader is being unfair, even if the intention is to motivate individuals differently. So, this perception can reduce trust and also damage the morale within the team. And the second challenge is the inconsistency in expectation. If discipline and feedback vary too much, players may become unclear about what behaviors are acceptable. This confusion can weaken standards and also can reduce accountability, especially in high pressure situations. And the last challenge is the impact on the team cohesion. Unequal treatment can lead to may lead to resentment or jealousy, which is leading the conflict between the players in the team. Over time, this can harm the teamwork and also the unity, so which are critical for sustained success. Therefore, while adapting the leadership style can be powerful, leaders must maintain clear rules, consistent values, and also fairness to ensure the team remains united.